I'd have been through a whole lot. Trial, tribulation, but I know God. The devil wanna put me in a bow tie. Pray that the holy water don't go dry, yeah, yeah. As I look around me, so many The Grammys are gonna be great this year, guys. I say every year before I'm massively disappointed. Now, to be fair, the Grammys this year were actually kind of interesting. If you remember last year, they were just so boring. I mean, not as bad as the whitest version ever of Kendrick Lamar's Eye that I just played for you, but still pretty bad. So a couple things about me and Taylor Swift. I have an undying, disordinate love for all things Taylor Swift. I love her music. I loved her back when she was country. I loved her when she's not country. I've been listening to Taylor Swift since Our Song. In 1989, is a really good album. The writing is tight and vivid. Out of the Woods has been like my favorite song for like 2 years running. It's just this happy, perfect pop music, and it's a great album. I really like how this album is just about falling in love and breaking up. There's no like big brave thing going on. It's just a bunch of songs. Really, really good songs. Which is something I really appreciate about that album, because we live in an age of important awards. Prizes and awards not given as symbols of quality or achievement, but instead are handed out often on the basis of what will be deemed most important. That's why Caitlyn Jenner can win Glamour magazine's Woman of the Year. It's how Sam Smith can sweep the Grammys with Stay With Me. That song's good, but is it Sweep the Grammys good? And it's how Fun Home can beat out Something Rotten for Best Musical at the Tonys. Now, this video is not meant to knock any of the achievements of any of these people, except for the writing in Fun Home, because that's just awful. And your keys, oh, your ring of keys. Those are the actual lyrics to an actual musical that actually won awards. See, what's happened is that people have started to suffer from a dangerous idea, that it's okay for ideology to supplant quality. If your work of art is bad, but it stays on message, then we're just gonna agree to call it good art. About 30 years of Christian music and movies have already been hijacked by this kind of thinking, and I'd really like it if the rest of pop culture didn't sink into that lie as well. Into all of this, and a whole lot more, Kendrick Lamar drops To Pimp a Butterfly. And first of all, how does a musician get an interview with the president when he put a dead president on the cover of his album? Okay, so I was convinced about this album like at the second song. The song called For Free. It's hilarious and groovy and manic and skillful and important. This album obviously wanted to be that album. The important one that talks about race and money and the American dream and violence. You know, all those things that Americans really want to talk about and really don't want to talk about. Also, the whole thing is just a freaking work of art. A work of art that's getting radio play and on Saturday Night Live. It is a towering achievement of being political and personal. Being very funny and very not. Something you can dance to, but also something you can dissect, and also something you have to earn your way to understanding, which is to say that I don't get all of it. The album was a good album, and it was an important album. Grammys. How did you get this wrong? So many times you have the music that's best and the music that's important, and you end up having to pick between the two of them. But this year they were the same thing. You had your chance. You could have been the ones that gave the important award, and nobody had to pressure you to do it. You could have been the ones that elevated this collection of stories and protests to the highest award that we give to pop music. And when Bill O'Reilly complained, you could have been, you might not like the politics of it, but seriously, can you think of a better album from this year? It's like when the New York Times named Beloved by Toni Morrison the best book of the last 25 years. And everybody was like, you're just doing that because she's black and a woman and you want to feel politically correct and important. And the New York Times was just like, you name me a book from the last 25 years that's 100% no questions asked better than Beloved. And everybody was like, oh yeah. Grammys, this could have been such a great moment for art, hip-hop, minorities of all kinds, the broader American culture. But no. Now when the Grammys finally do give Best Album to Kendrick Lamar or a hip-hop album, it's gonna feel like when they didn't give the Oscar to Martin Scorsese for Gangs in New York, so they just gave it to him for The Departed instead. And that just always feels hollow. And you don't want to be hollow, Grammys, right? Right? So Grammys, that's just my advice. And next year, I just want you to promise me one thing. Say you'll remember me, standing in that nice dress, staring at the sunset, babe. Red lips and rosy cheeks. Say you'll see me again, even if it's just in your wildest dreams.